Well, he's muted.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Simply
Shed Talk Show, where we go live from the shed industry and take questions from you guys about the shed industry or anything along that has to do with or roundabout with the shed industry with your host today, Andrew Boyle and
Peter Miller. I'm back, guys. I know last week I wasn't able to make it, but I was watching. I was doing my best to do the technical side of it on the back end and making sure you guys all had access to be able to hop on and be able to ask your questions. I will say I'm not 100%. I feel like I still am dealing with a lot of nasal congestion and dealing with a cough that just attacks me at random times. So if you see me mute my mic and lean over to the side just because I'm coughing like I'm dying, that's what's happening. But excited to be back here, guys, to talk about sheds. And today, Andrew, what are we talking about?
So we are talking about referrals today. And before we go too far, if you have a question or anything that we've talked about or the shed industry, please click the link in the description, or you can text me at 352-440-0786. That's the easiest way for me to get questions while we are on live. It comes straight to my cell phone. So text us your questions. You can email us for the next show at andrew@makingsalessimple.com. But get your questions in. We want to talk about and bring this about the shed industry and how to better everybody in it. I know we've had some guests on here already, and we're looking forward to see who calls in next and joins the show. But before we get into referrals, Peter, where are you at? Did I see is it a moose? Were you in Alaska? Where are you calling in today?
No, this is actually right back here. I believe it's an elk. So, I'm actually in Dalton, Georgia. I'm up at Miller Sheds at one of my lots up here. The weather is nice outside. We're actually starting to see color come back into all the trees. There's blooms going on. And I think that's a part of the reason why I'm so congested is it's allergy season and so on. So I'm here in Dalton, Georgia. That's an elk right up there. And it actually is cut from a saw blade. I don't know if you see the outside edge, but that actually was a saw blade. And then somebody cut it out and created that inside part of it. And it's one of my wall decor.
Okay. Well, today we're going to be talking about referrals. We'll get into it. Referrals. I know Peter asked what we're talking about today because I was trying to get a hold of Peter and he had customers and we were both busy. And so literally he jumped on like 1 minute before the timer ended. So we didn't have any time to discuss this stuff beforehand, but that's the beauty.
This is live.
Also, if you notice, my headphones are gone. I don't know what happened to them. I was looking for them. So hopefully all my audio is okay today. But referrals are a big part of business. And, Peter, I know this is a big thing for you. We've talked about this in the past, but, people seem to know you in the shed industry as far as your customers go. But as we talk about referrals, the statistic it says 80 to 90% of people are willing to give a referral, but only 10 to 20% of customer or employees actually ask for the sale. And it's the same thing with like Google reviews. Like it's crazy how many Google reviews and stuff you can get when you actually ask for that referral. So Peter, what's one top or way that you ask for a referral when you're, selling? I think it looks like you're selling today. Probably. I know you're in the office there at the Dalton lot. So I don't know if you had any customers today, but what's your approach to asking for a referral?
So I was in the saddle. I'm not doing the selling today. I'm doing more the management side of things and just doing those things today. But I was in the saddle on Saturday. I was at one of my locations in Florida, and I had the opportunity to sell a 8x16 shed to a customer. And I say, add it to your sales process. Yeah, big stuff going on there. But hey, we'll take everything we can. Customer comes in. We went out. We looked at the product. They saw what they could do. They liked what they could do with it. And then we stepped back inside and we started through that process of, okay, what are the different options that they're going to do as far as financing or cash sale or whatever it may be. I got all the way through that. They got a smile on their face. They're excited. And I was like, hey, right on our desk we have a Google review card with a QR code. And for some phones, it has NFC, so it actually will, you hover your phone over it, it automatically will pop up with a website for Google to be able to give a review. And so I try to add that to every time I do a sale.
Well,
Technical difficulties there for a second. Anyways, anytime that you're working with a client or a customer, if they don't purchase from you, that doesn't mean you can't ask for a review or a referral. It just means that for a referral or a review, maybe what you have doesn't help that person, but maybe something that you have would help their neighbor, or maybe it would help their grandmother, or maybe it would help anybody that person would know. I say every person has around 200 people of influence that they cover. That person is going to have 200 people that they know that you don't know, and you can ask them to be a referral for you. I'm telling you, gift cards are a good way of saying appreciation and saying thanks. I don't have to do it all the time, but if somebody is going to refer something to me, some people are driven by that. Some people are driven by a $10 Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks gift card. You can't do a whole lot with it, maybe one drink, but you still would have that option. Maybe you take and buy $100 worth of them and have them in your desk. If you're a shed salesperson, this is the time. I want to find out if there's somebody out there listening that has done this, and I want to hear your story on that. Please just call in here. You can click on those links below. I want to hear your story. But my story was, I had the person give me a 5-star review, and I asked them to do that very easily by hovering over that, choosing that Google review. And there was a little bit of a language barrier there. I don't speak the best Spanish, un poquito español. And they didn't speak the best English, but we were able to make it happen. And the review reads something like, very nice shed, Peter, good. That's what the review may say, but it's a realistic review. They took the time to be able to do that. So get reviews and then get referrals. I was talking to some of my staff up here in Dalton, and we were talking about referrals and such. And they said on the moves that we do, a lot of times we get a customer to call in and say, hey, we heard that we were supposed to get our shed moved from you because you guys are the best at it. Well, I think a lot of shed haulers may have something to say about that, but we try our best to be the best every time we do something. And so if we can provide quality service, then we're all about it.
So since we're talking about reviews real quick, one of the ways to do it is just like when you ask for somebody's phone number. If you're just staring at them when you ask their phone number, you're expecting to know. And if you look down and you start and you have your pen out, and you look down after you ask the question, they're going to give it to you. It's the same way with reviews. And if you don't have one, get the little Google. They're all super cheap, 10, $20. An example of that, I went to a suit store the other day to get had to get some pants altered for a speech that I was given. And I went back to pick them up, and the guy that gave them to me, wasn't even the guy that helped me or, altered them for me. But at the cash register, he's like, hey, we're a new location here. And if you wouldn't mind, giving us a review, it would really help our getting our ranking up. I was okay. I said, no problem. But I mean, in reality, you really think I'm going to go home and Google it and then get this guy a review for something that didn't even help me? I was like, yeah. And so he went and got my clothes and he went to hand it to me, and he said, hey, if you wouldn't mind, and he pointed at it and looked at it, and it was the QR code to scan. So then, well, what do you think I did? And I got my phone out, I scanned it. It was a simple review like Peter Good, but either way, it was a 5-star review. And it was just simply as just not only asking, but putting into motion. Hey, it's right here. Scan this, tap this. But back to referrals real quick. One of the most general basic beginner salespeople do is, do you know anybody that needs a shed? And well, that's better than that not asking. Don't get me wrong. It's better than not asking. But the problem is people like freeze when you give them a broad question. When you make it too difficult for somebody to like anybody. So instead of doing that, break it down into smaller segments. And what you could do on that would be like, hey, do you know of anybody else on your road that needs a new shed? Because now that broke down their mind, that's broke down to 10 houses or however many houses they have. Or has anyone in your family been talking about getting a new shed? All those questions, is all you're doing is breaking it down into smaller. And then if you're asking those back to back, you're getting more instead of just asking one time and saying, anybody needs a shed? No. And instead try this. Do you know anybody in your road that needs a new shed? Anybody in your anybody in your family? Anybody, that might need a workshop, but you're just breaking it down and you're giving that opportunity more times to, and make sure, another sales tip real quick, if I can throw a sales tip in here, is if you have the paperwork, don't hold the paperwork hostage while you're asking these questions. For an example, I have a little contract right here, but now you're getting ready to hand it to them or something. Now, do you have any referrals? Because they're like, I want to get out of here, give me my paperwork. So as you're working, you're over here on your laptop, your computer, you're writing this out. You're beginning in conversation and you're asking this so it doesn't feel like you're slowing the process down. It sounds like it's not going to affect anything. I'm just asking for it. And go ahead.
One of the things to pop into there is when you're talking to that person, even early in the conversation, really good tool to do is, hey, how'd you hear about us? When that person first comes on the lot, you're going to automatically know if they were a referral from somebody else. You're going to know if they found you online. You're going to know if they just drove by and saw you guys there. Those are some of those ways. And if it's a referral, maybe you can tie that back into it. Yeah, my brother John, he just bought a shed over here from you guys and said to come over here. Boom. All right, now you have something that you're working on in that rapport, because you remember that John and you had really good rapport, and maybe you can tie that into your sales process when you're selling to his brother now. Because if John did it and he took John's advice, now he's not just taking your advice that he has no idea who you are and you have to start from ground zero. He's taking your advice and John's at the same time.
And Peter, I know we talk about business cards being bad most of the time, but we'll give you an example of one reason why to have business cards. I sure hope Peter doesn't have any business cards over there. But one of the ways would be is at a different point after you ask for the referral, but a reason you could hand them some business cards is say, hey, when we deliver this, your neighbors are probably going to ask where you got it from. So I'd really appreciate it if you would just give them my card. Because now they're like, yeah, my neighbors are going to ask. Now when their shed's getting delivered, because we all know we might, obviously we think like, shed deliveries are simple and easy. And I was actually at the manufacturing plant yesterday, and Jared, my nephew, was loading up a shed onto his trailer with a mule, and he just grabbed them because he was lifting his trailer up, and I was like, hey, I'll grab the winch. He's like, I don't use the winch. I was like, okay. He went and grabbed the mule, poked the mule, drug that thing up, just left the mule attached to it. And I was like, okay, that's like okay. The technology that we have. I mean, like back in my day, it was pipes and a car jack. But my point is, us, the more like mules and all these crazy things that we get, the more it's just like, it's just a delivery. But keep in mind, these people have never seen this. And so to them, it's like, dude, you got that shit back there in 5 minutes? I mean, it was impressive how fast he loaded that up. But it just becomes routine to us. So remember, these people, it's a big deal to them. It's one of their top 5 or 10 purchases in their life. So make sure that you're using that opportunity to get referrals. Have your driver have business cards as well, or flyers or something, because most of the time neighbors are going to come out, look, and they're, if you have a good driver, which most of us do, is they're going to be impressed. Like, wow, that was really professional. It was really clean and a great job. Didn't mess up the grass. That's a perfect opportunity. It's always a good opportunity to ask for referrals, that kind of stuff, when people are at their peak mindset of how great your company is. So when the customer is leaving, they're excited, they got a deal. That's the time to ask. When they
So
ask, go ahead.
If they're on the delivery and the mule tips over and breaks into the shed, don't ask for the referral then.
No, that's when you keep
wait until the shed is fixed and then ask for the referral.
your competition's business card driver, and you have him hand out your competition's business card when that happens. No, but you want to ask at the peak mindset, and those cues are when somebody's the cue to ask for referral is when somebody's excited. So when they say like, maybe it's your lead time. Oh, we can have that next week. Oh, wow. Next week? That's a lot faster than I thought. Boom. That's your cue to ask for referral when they're at the peak mindset. Not when it's just a normal conversation, but try to look for those clues, because we all have customers that get excited, whether it's like, oh, I didn't realize it was that cheap, or I didn't realize you get it that fast, or whatever your unique selling proposition is. When you're in there, that's when you ask.
Yes. And the other thing I was going to say is, I remember a rent-to-own company used. I remember a rent-to-own company that we used. Hold on one second.
So another thing to ask is, as far as referrals go, is ask your customer, hey, when we're delivering it, if you take some pictures or stuff, could you tag our store in it? Because most of the time, people, I would say probably 75% of the time, people are going to post it on social media because, one, it's a unique experience, and two, it's like they're proud of their new shed. So it's all these referrals, not just a one-time thing. I guess what we're getting at. There's so many layers of getting referrals on so many different avenues and ways to do it. It's not like check the box, like, yes, I asked for referral. They said they're going to give me one. But go ahead, Peter, finish your thought.
So one of the things you were talking about, a driver going, while he's there with a handful of cards and things like that. Well, the rent-to-own company that we used at the time, they had nice actual door hangers put with, hey, I don't know how well this would be taken because the neighbor may not want it, but your neighbor just got a new shed. Please call us if you need something. And it was like, go to this house on the left and go to that house on the right and put it on their door. That way, maybe it just starts, the conversation of, hey, we want a shed as well, and they're willing to do that. That was one of the things that I had noticed in a rent-to-own provider doing that. I thought it was interesting. If you've done something like that, or you have an idea for something like that, feel free to put a comment here in the comments, or hop on if you feel comfortable doing that. We would love to see you face to face and get to meet some of the people that make up the shed industry. I had a conversation the other day with a guy named Jason. He had sent me an email, and we got on a call. And I drive a lot for work. Like I'm on the road, I think probably more than I sleep, it seems like. And so we had a great opportunity to just get on a call and talk about sales and talk about sheds and different things like that. And that's what this is about. Simply Shed Talk Live is just that. We want you guys to be able to join in and be able to talk about sheds just like we do. We are learning things just like you are, but if we can share our experiences and grow our community to be able to be better at our craft, who's going to win? Not just you, not just me, but our customers are going to win. And that's what we're striving to do here.
Hey, Peter, I got a question that was texted in. And so the question is to you, have you ever offered anything as far as to the customer, like upgrade, a bonus, anything like that as far as referral? Or have you heard of anybody that's done it that maybe it works, doesn't work? Any thoughts on that?
That's a really interesting thing. I've never thought of it on a new shed because the customer already has something. But what I have offered, I haven't offered on a shed, which is an interesting concept. I have to think on that one a little bit. But I have offered free steak dinner. You know, hey, Mr. Jones, you're wanting to buy this, and you told me your brother was looking at getting a shed. Guess what, Mr. Jones? If your brother comes in here and buys a shed, once he's purchased his shed, I'm going to send you a couple of gift cards. You guys can go out to dinner. You wanted to take your wife out for, you said it was your anniversary coming up here in 2 months. Go take her out to dinner. Enjoy a steak dinner on us. We appreciate you guys more than you really know. So that is something that I would do. I've never thought about.
Have you ever had him come back and give out the steak dinner?
Yeah, actually, there was this guy. I can't remember exactly his name, but he was a guy who literally, he was blind. This guy is blind. You guys are going to laugh at this, but this guy was blind. He had to have somebody drive him around to be able to come into the shed lot to be able to do it. He bought a steel building from me. He beat me to it. He's like, if I get other people to buy, will you give me something? I said, yes, sir. I'll give you a gift card, gladly do that. This guy was back like 3 or 4 times with other people. Mind you, he's blind. He has to have somebody else drive him to be able to get there and do it. He would go sit in the corner and wait until we got done there. And then I'd be Mr. So-and-so. I'll get you taken care of. It was like the secret nod, but he was blind. But you know what I mean? It was like, we'll get you taken care of. It was really interesting. I've never had anything quite like that before. But yes, I've definitely given out the steak dinner. I've given out the gift cards. And it works. You normally don't have people come back more than once. Other than this guy, he was very persistent. But hey, I was having a conversation with somebody. As shed sales professionals, right? We sell sheds all the time. If we make $50 less in our pocket, but yet we sell another shed, why wouldn't we want to jump all over top of that? Why wouldn't we want to sell that extra shed, even if it cost us $50 less than what we normally would have made? Like, I'll take that all day long. If no one else wants that, please send all your referrals to me. I will hand out the $50 gift cards and do that. And I'm being a little facetious by saying that, but be giving referrals out to those people. And sometimes, I will say, it doesn't always take a steak dinner. Sometimes it just takes a matter of asking. You've given quality customer service to that person. They understand that they're not just a number. They're actually a person that you build a relationship with. And when they walk back through that door, you're able to help them. You're not there to rip them off. This is all the key factors that come back into referrals that I've seen.
Yeah, the thing, you could give away $100, $200. It doesn't matter because you're not giving it away unless somebody else buys. So it's not like, a thing you're going to advertising where, I don't know if it's going to work. It guaranteed to work because, if you have to give away that $100 or whatever it is, you've got a sale out of it. So I think not only did you get a sale out of it, if that customer, whatever his name was, the blind guy, if he brought 3 customers back in, he had to have told at least 10, 15, 20 people because, statistically, I don't think he went to just 3 people and, oh yeah, I'll buy a shed. He probably told several people, hey, if you need a shed, go see Peter. If you need a shed, go see Peter. And then eventually you got 2 or 3 or however many you got. So it's not just the $100 steak dinner that you had to pay. It's your word of mouth in the community that's better than any advertising you're going to do, is when you have that raving fan, of that raving customer that, is going to have your back and, talk good about you. There's a lot of benefits to referrals, to Google reviews. I guess it kind of in the same topic. We've been talking about that today. But it's very easy to do. All you have to do is ask for it.
Well, one of the things I think that is interesting. So I'm what would be considered a millennial. We have the Gen Zers, which are right below us. And I think the Gen Z has really taken off on this live influencer side of things. And influencers are everything, like people get paid millions of millions of dollars to be influencers, depending on how many followers they have. They get paid for basically referrals. Hey, come check out this. Look at this beautiful water, Deer Park water. They owe me now, but Deer Park water. It's great water. It's spring water. And they're showing a video. People have created almost rapport with them. And instead of an influence of 200 people, they have an influence of 5 million people. And maybe not all those 5 million are right there, but that's kind of what you're doing in a very, very small scale when you ask for referrals. And sometimes you get an actual influencer. I know you were telling me that you've had some really popular people buy some of the different sheds. I know we've had an influencer buy a shed from one of our lots that was very, very well known in social media. And
we might have lost Peter.
With respect, honesty, clarity. You want to provide good value. You want to make sure your customer service is always top tier, and you're always asking for a review and for a referral.
Yeah, absolutely. Peter, I think I bought a tip. Did we lose Peter again? That's the downside of going live. But yeah, it's very important to even asking for referrals when customers are there to ask them, post it on their social media. But social media is a very big tool that we can use, and simply just asking. I think the biggest thing is referrals, Google reviews, anything to do with sales. It starts by simply asking the question. Once you can get in the habit of asking the question, you'll be surprised how it works. And then my last tip as far as Google reviews, what we've done in our past, some of our businesses, is create a raffle, whatever that might be. In the shed industry, it might be, a ramp or even a gift card or anything. And do a raffle and tell them every sale they get to enter their little ticket to the raffle, a little jug or bucket on your desk. And then when they leave a Google review, they get another entry to win. And so what you'll be surprised how many people will give you a Google review and then show you their Google review to be entered to win, something, small. And the other thing that I've had one of my stores do before is they got a box of those, like the full size, like Skittles and Snickers. You buy them at Walmart like $20 or probably $50 now, but however much they are, like the 24 pack. And they put that behind the counter, and they put a big sign that says free candy with Google review. And so you all know, especially at shed lots, you're sitting there and you want to, you would pay for it because you want a snack or something. And so you even offer it to the customer, like, hey, we have some free candy. If you just leave us a Google review, you can get your choice. And you'd be surprised how many people will get their phone out or scan your little QR code and give you a 5-star review in exchange for a bag of Skittles or Snickers. And then, of course, it gets the customer to enjoy their experience while they're there.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things I was when you said that was interesting to me was, I'm going to start name dropping a little bit, but Gerald Rose with Creative Backyards up in Nebraska. I've called him and talked to him about this, and I'm really, really excited to see him doing this. And I was all for this. He's gone out and he's taken pictures of the sheds that are on his lot, and he's turned them into character coloring book drawing pages. And then he put it on their social media for children to be able to color a coloring contest. And then he gave away like $20 and $50 for the grand prize. And so all that's doing is bringing awareness back into your shed lot. It's the sheds that you offer. It's getting your kids involved into the situation. It's just building that community. You want people to think of you first. Companies around your local area, then that potentially would be another way. So I when you talked about that came to mind. And Gerald, you're doing a great job. Keep it up. Hey, come on live sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. I know your computer froze up halfway through there, Peter, but some great points and just some great ideas as far as the shit industry. And just by talking to Peter, I mean, I've got some ideas just from him, just from talking on the show, some great ideas, the coloring pages and some other things that I've wrote down here that I'm going to implement. Just because they're little things that they don't even probably cost any money or very little money, but it's just that little touch that we can add, and have those coloring sheets in the office. I've never thought of that. It's a great idea, but now you have a little spot for Johnny and Susie to be coloring while you're talking to the parents, and the kids aren't running around making the parents annoyed that they're having to take so long. But just simple little things like that we can help help each other. And that's why next week we want you guys to be prepared. Join the conversation. You can, in the meantime, throughout the week, you can email me questions, me or Peter. So it's Peter or Andrew at makingsalessimple.com. You can get a hold of us. You can text in questions. That is, you can text my cell phone, 352-440-0786. Ask me any questions. And if you want to leave it anonymous, that's fine. We don't have to put your name up. Just send us a question. We would love to ask that or talk about that question or bring people in to talk about that question. Go ahead, Peter.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about, because behind the scenes, I'm working on this almost every single day, but Shed Sales Summit comes up in September of this year. Before you know it, it will be here. And one of the things that I would ask you, we've sent out surveys to kind of ask after the event happened, but one of the things I want to know is what is some key factors that you guys are going through right now? What is something that we can bring value to you? Because that's one of the things I strive to do every single time I'm thinking about bringing people in, is what is the value that you guys are going to take away from the Shed Sales Summit? So once again, email Peter at makingsalessimple.com. Talk to me. We are working every day on getting this thing right and making it as good as possible for you guys. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you.
Yes, thank you guys so much. And quick tip on the Shed Sales Summit is we have got our speaker lined up, and I can't say who it is, but let me just say Peter has read his book multiple times on repeat, talks about him all the time. So this guy, when you hear the name, you're going to know who it is. It's a big name, and it's a lot of money. So hopefully you guys will come. Peter kept talking to me about it, and I was like, Peter, just pull the trigger and do it. We'll figure out how to pay for it, because it's like his hero in the I can't tell you all the details, but stay tuned. That'll be coming out soon. We got some other speakers we're lining up that are going to be a great lineup. It's really going to be valuable, and I think Peter's going to have to hire someone to take his spot, because he wants to be sitting in the audience taking notes.
Exactly.
But anyways, we will see you guys next week. In the meantime, call, text us, email us questions. Be sure to get on next week, and we will see you guys right here live next week.
Thanks, guys.